Alright, hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Miss Mo. With this turtleneck thing on, and then with my blue screen glasses, don't I look like I'm smart? But I feel like I feel like I look like Steve Jobs, I think, with the turtleneck thing on. Anyway, another thing, can y'all see the purple in my hair? I'll have to say this. Even though that As I Am temporary color did not really last, or really, I mean, it showed up a little bit when my hair was wet, but after it dried and all the color transferred, definitely isn't showing up. But I will say this. I think it is conditioning my hair to the point that my curls are popping. So that's one benefit of using that temporary color thing. I guess that's one benefit that I see. But that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to talk about dating. Ooh, to talk about dating and the importance of having a strong mind when you're dating. People, I haven't really heard anybody talk about that in particular, like having a strong mind. They all talk about, like being confident, or, making sure you look good and all that other stuff. But when you're dating, you need to have a strong mind. And so one thing that kind of made me think about this was like my niece, like they're teenagers, so they're doing the dating thing. And this is like a weird world to me because growing up with Nigerian parents, you don't date. And yeah, but I was thinking about my niece, and I was thinking, I was like, a lot of teenagers, I think, they don't know themselves. Like, I'm an adult, and I'm still trying to understand myself. A teenager, some do know who they are. Some do know who they are, but most of the time they really don't. And so to start to incorporate dating into that whole mix of not even knowing yourself, it just seemed like a shit storm about to happen. And so I say that it's important to have a strong mental, because when you're dating, things can happen. I feel like a lot of women, or a lot of girls or young ladies, they're taught that they just have to be pretty. When you're pretty, people will obviously find you attractive, but people will come towards you. Guys will want to date you. They'll talk to you and doing all these things. The problem with that is that I feel like we are teaching a lot of our girls and young ladies, and even women, that they have to kind of portray themselves in like a prostitution manner, and like they feel as if somebody should be paying them for their looks and for their services. And their services could be sexual services, it could be domesticated services, cooking for the guy or the person that you're interested in, folding their clothes, just basically being a wifey. But we don't really teach our young ladies the importance of being strong mentally and basically having their shit together internally. Because the thing about dating is that a lot of people want to date because they feel like it's fun and it's beautiful, and that's what we see in movies. But what, and I was a fool to this myself, was that dating, first of all, if you're dating multiple people, your project management skills are on a whole nother level. Let's say that first and foremost, because it's hard to juggle different people. I'm saying it's like if you're in an open relationship and you're honest with the person, not if you're trying to be all sneaky and trying to manage all the other stuff. But if so, I'm not condoning cheating or anything. But if you are able to manage multiple partners at once, you have a skill. You have a project management skill. I'm just saying. But so where was I going with that? But like we kind of like are teaching our um, our daughters, our sisters, our mother, future mothers, all these other things that to kind of like prostitute themselves. So like they're offering something in exchange, and they're trying to basically capture somebody's attention by the way they look, just to kind of reel them in, to get them hooked and then reel them in. And it's like, girl, you gotta get your mind right. Because, and then a lot of, oh, that's what I was saying. We look at all these things about dating, but the thing about dating, um, if you're dating multiple people, you still, internally, you got to work on yourself. Because in a way, you're asking, whether it's one person, whether it's multiple people, you're asking them to love you. But the thing that a lot of people don't understand, especially when it comes to dating, is that, um, the thing that they forget, I'll say, especially when it comes to dating, is that you cannot ask somebody to love you if you don't love yourself. You can't ask somebody to like you if you don't like yourself. Like all that stuff has to, something on my teeth. All that stuff, that internal work has to be done, and it doesn't make it. And I'm not saying that you have to be fully put together before you get out on the dating scene. But if you know you are extremely broken in an area, like maybe dating is not the best thing for you, because again, you're bringing in somebody into your world. You don't have all your shit figured out. And you're kind of in a way asking them to kind of accept you and love you, even though you're broken and you're not trying to fix yourself. And that's a lot of responsibility to put on one person. I feel like a lot of times when we're dating, and because of like how it's viewed in media and all this stuff, we feel as if, I'm speaking more so for heterosexual couples, we feel as though like a guy is supposed to save us. um and we have to understand that, first and foremost, yes, this is a male, this is a guy or a man or whatever, but they're still a human being. Like their views can change on something. um like they're malleable, like, and so, and they don't know what they're doing. So like you asking somebody to come and save and help you, but they can be just as lost as you, they just know how to fake it. So I'm saying all this to say is that, and I mentioned like we try to prostitute ourselves a little bit. And I'm not saying that to be judgy towards anybody else, because I feel like I've done it as well. Like we need to stop trying to groom our daughters and young women and women in general, into like prostituting ourselves, because it's like you want it, like we want to be treated like royalty. We want to be treated like princesses or queens and all these things. But instead, we're kind of being treated like prostitutes, because they're just paying for our service of, again, whether it's sexual, whether it's domesticated services, whether it's just, they just trying to use you for your shit. Like, they're just, it's like, again, like you're just paying for a service. Whereas when you are royalty, a princess and a queen, they're not just a pretty face. They have something behind them. They have diplomacy behind them, or they know how to be diplomatic. So they serve a purpose in terms of, usually, I think like people during those times, they were well educated. So you couldn't be like, you couldn't be dumb and be a queen or a princess, or I mean, I guess you could be a dumb princess, but the goal is not for you to be dumb. The goal is for you to be educated so you can know how to maneuver yourself with your king or with your partner. So, but I feel like a lot of times we put a lot of emphasis on looks, and like making sure that the young lady or the girl or the woman is looks appealing, but they don't have, their mental is not right. And so you kind of get stuck with, if you're a guy, you kind of get stuck with a crazy woman on your hands. And if you're a woman, you kind of feel as if you're going crazy because you ask somebody to love you, but you don't even know who you are. So yeah, that's my whole rant. Get your mental right before you start dating. And if you're not ready to be in a seriously committed relationship, obviously let the person know. Um, and I feel like, along with letting the person know, if you still feel like that person is still trying to come at you in terms of like want to date you, just cut the person off. Don't take advantage of that person, because if they don't understand that, hey, I'm dating around right now, I'm not looking for anything, or I don't want to date at all, and if they still are trying to pursue you, that means that something is not right with them. Like I was saying, that means that if that person is either not on the same wave as you in terms of like trying to just, you know, just out there, just trying to date and just kind of like have fun, if they're not on the same wave as you, and you tell them that you are dating multiple people or you don't feel like dating anybody at this time, and if they're still trying to pursue you, that means that something might not be right with them in terms of like how they value themselves. Because obviously this person is letting you know that I don't really want you right now, and they are not getting that hint. And then again, but you have to be responsible enough to know to basically cut those ties, because it's not just as much as that person might not be right internally, you might not be right internally if you feel like, okay, I don't want this person, but I'm still going to keep them around. Like, don't do that. It's fucked up. It's fucked up because you're playing with somebody's emotions, dreams, life moods, like all these other things. You're playing around with you're just playing around with them. And that's not right. So, all in all, the key things in this video is, when you're dating, be mentally prepared. Understand that people are just people. Men are not saviors. Women, for the men out there who be wanting women to act like they mama or they grandmother, or no, women are not saviors. We are not trying to save you, because we are trying to save ourselves. Um but people are just people. People are not necessarily going to save you. So stop making it seem as if when you date somebody or when you get into a relationship that everything's going to be okay. That is not the case. Like, you have to continue to work on yourself prior to getting into a relationship. So definitely working on your mental and your emotional health. But even when you are in a relationship, to constantly keep working on that, because it's very easy to lose yourself in somebody else. And then if something, again, because we are people and we are malleable, because we may change, certain like things may happen that may cause us to change, that we have to be able to move with those changes. Obviously, we may not like it, but if we don't have the right mental and emotional health and even spiritual health to kind of work through those changes, then we're going to keep putting ourselves into a bad cycle and saying, like, people ain't shit, men ain't shit, women ain't shit. And although some of that can be true, there are some shitty men and women out there. At the end of the day, the only thing you can control are your actions. And so, yeah, so you can't just put everything that you want out of life into just kind of like one person. Like, you can't make it seem as if, again, they're going to save you, because they might be in the middle of saving you, and then they see something interesting and veer the other way. Like, we're people. We're just people. We don't have all the answers. So yeah, don't make it seem as if when you start dating somebody that they are the answer, because they're not. I think you are the answer. But all right, let me go back to work with my little Steve Jobs turtleneck. But okay, all right. Bye, y'all.